Okay, just get a little introduction. We could tell people a little bit later, but we're going to try to start a drop early. One second. Okay, and this is memory of my mother, Sarah Rivka Bas Moshe, and I just would say a couple words. As I said a few days ago on Shabbos, I made a little Devar Torah about the 9 days and the destruction of the temple, as well as involving my mother when she passed away. She passed away 2 days before Tisha B'Av, and it just was talking about like the parsha drop and about the destruction of the temple. With the parsha last week was Matos Maseh, talked about the journeys of the Bnei Israel throughout the desert, and just like we never know. Describes all the places where they went, where they left, where they went, where they came from. So, I think it's very important for us to realize that we always have to know where we came from, and then ends up where we arrive at. So I think if this is, it's matters on I think just like there in the parsha, and just like God, when He destroyed the temple, He only destroyed the temple. He never destroyed the Jewish people. So we were able to live on. So I think that this is the same thing with generations. So the same thing, with our parents, and they give us something to go in the beginning, to go forth from. We have to make sure that we're able to go and arrive at a certain place, doing the right things and following the right path. So I think that this is, lends itself to the parsha from last week, and also to show us that, during the 9 days we try to look back at the history and try to figure out how we could fix it and how we could better ourselves. So I think when we remember, our parents, and what they could give to us and what we could learn. Listen, we always had sometimes arguments with our parents, but sometimes they always try to think the best of us, to do the best. So I think, just like the parents try to do for us, we always have to try to, do our final things and try to do the best that they gave us and try to accomplish our goals, for our parents. So I think that this is just like here when God destroyed the temple on the 9th of Av. So, but he only destroyed a physical structure. He didn't destroy us. And He gave us a chance for us to fix ourselves and do tshuva. So I think this is what we try to do during the 9 days and try to do on Tisha B'Av. We try to remember and we try to fix and try to go further our path and try to make our path better with us and Hashem. So I think this is what we try to do. We try to bring everything together. We try to bring us from where we came from, where we were arriving at, and and to bring Hashem in the middle of it, and to make ourselves into a better person, a better view to other Jews and to Hashem. Okay, so that's my short part, and we will. Is this working?
It's working, yeah.
Okay, so we'll have Rabbii Schwartz now, and Rabbii Schwartz spoke a few times here before, and he's some people don't know, he's the rabbi of in New York of Congregation of Tzedek, and he's in Israel a lot, so sometimes he's able to speak by me. So we will soon give him the mic.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so but you have the other thing, right?
Okay, yes. Alan, thank you very much. Right, this is the 4th time I'm doing this in your house. It's great to see so many faces that I know from 20 years ago, some 30 years ago, some more recently, but all of you from very good times. We hope that we can continue those good times here in Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh. I'd like to thank Alan for always opening his home. He is the man of hospitality. His house is Pasuach L'Rvacha in America and here, and it's a schus for me to share Torah in memory of Sarah Rivka Bas Moshe. Today is her 10th yortzeit, and the Gemara tells us that we have the mitzvah of Kibbud Av Va'em, not as long as our parents are alive, but as long as we're alive. In other words, the mitzvah continues. We can continue to do things for them physically, even though they are not physically here. And what better way to show that devotion than to in support of Torah? And I know there's a bowl here for Beit El Ezraki. They do just amazing work. My Rebbetzin and I have been spending our summers there for the last 5 years. And while there are always great organizations, and when I look at Fabia here, who cannot talk about Migdal Or, and I'm looking all around and thinking of every wonderful organization. And Fabia, I think I brought you into Migdal Or in the first place. But anyway, there are great organizations. We happen to be there this summer, so if anyone would like to support some of their amazing work with orphans and with kids off the street, their parents can't take care of them. Some don't have parents. The parents are in Ethiopia. They're really it's just an amazing program in the middle of Netanya. And if you'd like to be in support of their work, there's a bowl there for that. And whatever you put in, please say the name Sarah Rivka Bas of Moshe, and it should be as well for an Ilu Neshama. And we'll be having Marav afterwards.
And dessert.
Oh yes, well that's. Now I know they'll stay. Okay.
We'll have set some stuff up outside as well. And it's cool outside. Don't worry, we have fans.
Okay, but before I speak about the advertised topic, there's just an amazing halachic fact about these 3 weeks, is that we start with different gradations of mourning, of Avelut, that start with 3 weeks, then 9 days, then Shvur Shechol Bo, then Erev Tisha B'Av itself. So I tell you that with all of this, especially this year, the 9th of Av is not a date in the Tanakh. It's not. You will not find any event in the Tanakh that happened on the 9th of Av. The destruction of the temple is mentioned in 3 different books of Tanakh, in Sefer Malachim, in Sefer Divrei Hayamim, and in Sefer Yirmiyahu. 2 of these sources say the temple was destroyed on the 7th of Av, and the 3rd source says it was destroyed on the 10th of Av. The Talmud is not oblivious to this phenomenon, and it says that on the 7th they broke into the temple complex. They looted for 3 days, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th, and at the very end of the 9th they put the temple to flames. And Rav Yochanan, when he heard this story, said, if I were there at the time, I would have established the fast for the 10th of Av, which means this year wouldn't be a nidche, it would be the actual day. All right, but so this very fact that the Gemara says this at the end of Maseches Taanis poses a halachic phenomena that is puzzling, because on Tisha B'Av itself we of course reach a pinnacle of Avelut that goes beyond the 3 weeks, the 9 days, the Shvur Shechal Bo, the Erev Tisha B'Av. But on Tisha B'Av itself, do you recognize that we lighten up after Chatzos, right? We turn on all the lights, we put on the velvet coverings, right? We can sit on chairs after Chatzos, right? We don't have to sit on the floor anymore. The men put on talis and tefillin now. We didn't wear tefillin in the morning, talis and tefillin in the morning. So it is kivayachol. I can point to 5 or 6 or 7 real live minhagim that lighten up after Chatzos. But from the scheme of this Gemara, it should be that these chumras should go stronger and stronger as Tisha B'Av moves on, because the actual destruction took place at the end of Tisha B'Av. This is a very famous question Rishonim ask, and the answer is what Alan just said, is that when God took his anger out on the sticks and stones and the wood and the metal and precious gems of the temple, it lightened up the anger that therefore was not waxed against people. The Beis HaMikdash is not as holy as the souls of the people in this room, because it's hard to say, but the Beis HaMikdash, like the luchos that Moshe broke, and like the aron that the Philistines took from the sons of Eli, are things. They are physical things. You cannot apply actual inherent holiness to physical things. That's why we're not allowed to quantify God with anything. And when the Israelites tried to, it was a great compliment to Moshe, because they said, in the absence of Moshe, what can we have between ourselves and God, right? And they said, Kizeh Moshe Ha'ish. Moshe is just a man. He'll die one day. Let's make something that'll take Moshe's place, that'll even outlive any man. And we can look at that thing and think of God. Eila Elohecha Yisrael Asher Elohim Eretz Mitzrayim. This represents the God that just took us out of Egypt. Moshe, in his wisdom, quickly came up with the idea that let me break these luchos that God himself made to show them that they are not inherently holy. Our souls are. So people are holy. That's our value system. I was speaking to a devout Muslim recently, and he was talking about Harabayas, and he said, you know yourself that there was never a Temple of Solomon there. And all the rabbis know that. And everyone who fought the 6-Day War knows that. And his answer was, because if you believed that the Temple of Solomon was really there, you would never give it up to us. It would never be a negotiation of peace with us. And he said, this is where you're wrong. This is where Avram Avinu also knew that these places are holy, but he made a pact with the Philistines. To us, for the time being, until Mashiach comes or whatever, we have a higher order. People are holier than things. One human life is holier than the Kotel. I'm just saying that. Rav Soloveitchik said that at an RCA convention right after the 6-Day War. He said that the holiest thing is not a thing. It's the human soul. So that's why at the end of Tisha B'Av we lighten up on the Avelut, because the anger waxed now not on the people of Israel but on the holy objects of the temple, which is a terrible tragedy for us, but still is a cause to lighten up on the Avelut, because it turned away from our souls. Okay, that's now. This is something Alan just said, so I'm reiterating it. And may the holy soul of your mother Sarifka Bas Moshe be bound with the living, Alan, and may that holy soul, which continues to be holy, continue to derive benefit from all your wonderful works. Shkach.
Amen.
Okay, so our topic is Shlosha Sha'alu Shelo Kehogan. It's a Gemara in Masechet Tanit. I'm going to talk quickly because I know you. When a drasha is between you and dessert, I will.
I should didn't say Marav.
I will be dessert. I will try to be quickly. And I must say, most of what I'm going to tell you tonight are things you already know, but I'm going to try to analyze them from a particular direction that maybe you will all work together on this. There are 3 people who made deals with God, says the Talmud, that were not good deals. They could have gone disastrous. But 2 of them ended up working, and 1 of them was disastrous. Now, that's a Gemara maybe some of you know. It's the beginning of Masechet Tanit. But the fact is, Tosfos on that Gemara asks, wait a second, I know a 4th one that should have been included. And Tosfos discusses why that 4th one isn't included, but I have to tell you, I found 2 midrashim, one of them is in these sources, that actually list this 4th case. Let's start working on them. People who said, God, if this and this and this thing happens, then I'll know this and this is what we're supposed to do. And something terrible could have happened. I'll get us started. The first one is Avraham's servant, Eliezer Eved Avraham, who was told to find a wife for Yitzchak, and he made a deal with God. God, Avraham said my master said you would send an angel. Remember, he's Eliezer, Damesek Eliezer. He's from Damascus. He is going back to his hometown to find a wife, right? He knows what they're like there. At that time, Aram is steeped in something called nichush. Nichush is divination. Lavan tells Yaakov, I was menachesh. I did divination, and I found out that everything that happened to me is because of you. That's why I'm not going to kill you. That's in Parshas Vayetze. Aram is the capital of Nichush at this time. So Eliezer is smart. He does something that looks like Nichush, which in your sources, if you look at the first source, look at this, it's an amazing thing. This is not the Gemara I'm quoting now in Tainus, it's a Gemara in Chulin. It says, Kol Nachash she'eno ke'Eliezer Eved Avraham, Uchionos and Ben Shaul, let's leave him apart for the time being. Could someone pour me a little water, please? Not carbonated, but water. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, so what Eliezer did looks like nichush, looks like divination. Right? Divination means that you look outside, you see an ominous thing, right? You walk outside and you see the moon and Venus are lined up in a certain way. Oh no, this is going to be a bad day. That's nichush. Or actually, if you see the way Mars is going to stop by soon also, and you see Mars near the moon, you say, oh, this is going to be a good day. That's nichush. Right? It smacks of astrology as well. And what did Abraham's servant do that looks like nichush? He said, the first girl that comes and not only serves me but also my camels, then that'll be the one. Now, what could have gone wrong? What if it's not? Yeah, what if not someone suited for Yitzchak? Right? What if it's the Gemara asks, what if she was blind? What if she was crippled? What if she was a Canaanite? What if she was just some, how do you know Yitzchak is going to be satisfied with this? This doesn't sound like a good deal. Right? So, but he got answered well, that's Rivka. So I got you started. Who are the other three?
Yaakov Avinu, when he was made the netter, when he was leaving Israel.
What could have gone bad there? You're making a deal. You say, God,
Hashem will be my God. He went out and he said that Hashem will be his God.
Okay, but there's only good there.
Okay.
You would have made a deal with Yosef.
Yeah, stay in the text. Stay in the text, not Medrash. Okay, I'll continue. Shaul said, we have this big, tall giant there. No one wants to fight him. And it's one of us against one of him. So he makes a great deal to incentivize someone. And he says, the person who kills Goliath gets to marry my daughter. What kind of deal is that? What if a mamzer kills him? Right? What if a real zlob who your daughter doesn't like kills him? She's stuck with him? Right? By the way, as it turns out, Shaul did not give David over to him, says the Gemara in Yevamos, because he said he's a great-granddaughter of a Moabite. He is the halachic equivalent of a mamzer, and I'm not going to give her to him. Until he was pressured, and he accepted the second deal. Right? He gave the first daughter to a different man, Adriel HaMecholati. Right? He made another deal with David, hoping that he'll get killed with the 200 Philistines, but finally he gave over Michal to David. But you know what I'm saying? It's the same kind of situation, right? Whoever kills Goliath gets to marry my daughter. The third one that the Gemara in Tanis doesn't mention, but that the Medrash mentions, is a similar story in Tanakh. Anyone have an eye to see? Okay, Yiftach is the other bad one. There's a third one where Kalev ben Yefuna says, whoever conquers Kiryat Sefer gets to marry my daughter Ochsa. Perhaps the Gemara in Tanis did not mention that because, well, it's the same as Shaul. You following? The Gemara could just say, what if a mamzer conquers Kiryat Sefer? Right? What if a shlob that your daughter doesn't like conquers Kiryat Sefer? So since it's the same exact case, right, the Gemara chooses not to mention it. Okay? All right, so the fourth one is now, Alan, please.
Yiftach.
So Yiftach is fighting against the Ammonites. The war is not going well. And he decides he's going to make a deal with God. God, if you turn things around for me. So for that one, let's read it. Okay. Source number 11. And then I'll come back and we'll go through some of the others. Source number 11 says, if you look at Pasuk Lamed, the second line, Vayidar Yiftach Neder Lashem, and the English is source number 12 if you would like to follow along. It would be verse 30. Right? He made an oath to God, and he said, Nason titenes b'nei Ammon biyadi, if you give these Ammonites into my hands, v'haya hayotzei asher yetzei midal se beisi l'krasi b'shuvi b'shalom, mibnei Ammon, and the first thing that greets me as I see leaving my door as I come in sight of my house, this is what will happen to it. V'haya l'Hashem v'ha'alisihu olah. V'haya l'Hashem, this thing will be unto God, which is maybe a little nebulous. What does it mean to be unto God? But v'ha'alisihu olah, that sounds like what Hashem told Avraham to do in Parshas Vayera, right? Okay. Now, that is what Yiftach said he would do. Okay, when he does come near his house after a successful battle, he is a hero of Israel, and plus they told him, if you win this battle against the Ammonites, you'll be our leader. So it's a good day for him, right? Okay, and what does he see? He sees what leaves his house as he approaches the door, and he starts ripping his clothes. His daughter, who is the one who leaves the house, asks him, why are you so upset? This is a good day for our family. And he says, I opened up my mouth to God. I made an oath that is something that is devastating. And she doesn't ask what the oath is. She just tells him, Dad, if you're the leader now and you made an oath, you must keep your oath. And then he tells her, you are involved in this oath. And she says, I don't care to know what the oath is. You have to keep your oath. Right? Now, halachically speaking, although I don't know if we have the right to apply halacha Neseches Nedarim to a story in Sefer Shoftim, but if we were to, you can't make an oath like that and force it on another person. But she's telling him to do it. Because, Dad, if you don't keep your oath, what's going to happen the next time when the war is not going bad? When the war is going bad and a leader makes an oath. He's going to get a reputation before God that the leaders don't keep their oaths. Keep your oath, Dad. That's more important. That has ramifications for the whole nation. All right? So now in the Tanakh, it just says he kept his oath. Now, but I'd like to go back to the Gemara in Masechet Ta'anit, which is the beginning of these sources. If you look back on page 2, it's source number 3. See where it says Shlosha Shalu Shelo Kehogan. You see it? 3, it's the title of this year. Source number 3 on page 2. It says Shlosha Shalu. Look at the back page of the front cover. See, you don't have source number 2? Oh, yeah? Oh, you skipped? Okay. All right. So here's what the Gemara does. It says every worst case scenario. Eliezer, what are you doing? How could you say whoever gives me water in my camels? What if a Canaanite? What if a girl unsuitable to Yitzchak? And it says for Shaul, what if a mamzer kills? What if an Eved kills Goliath? You're going to give your daughter to a mamzer? And what does it say for Yiftach? Yiftach, fool. How can you make such a foolish deal with God? You're going to say the first thing that comes out of your house, you're going to offer up as a sacrifice to God? What if that thing is... That's not what the Gemara says. A pig, or a camel, or a dog. That's what the Gemara says. Yiftach, worst case scenario, pig, camel, or dog. You're going to offer that on God's Mizbeach? Now that's a pele. Doesn't the Gemara know the story in the Bible is worse than that? There's no death penalty of offering a pig on God. You take a pig into the Beis HaMikdash, offer it on God's holy temple. Maybe if Matisyahu sees you, you're in trouble, but there's no death penalty for that. You know what I'm saying? It's a terrible thing. Misa b'dei shamayim or something like that, or kares, or worse. But not Beis Din doesn't do anything to you. But taking a human being on God's mizbeach, there's no greater ketzef in the whole Tanakh. Yirmiyahu says in chapter 19 that when people were doing things like that, offering and making it look like the God of Israel wants human blood on his mizbeach. So that's really the crux of this shir is to answer this question. Why does the Gemara not give the worst case scenario for Yiftach's bad deal when it says, what if a dog or a pig would come out? Right? Try to think of an answer to that. We have an answer on these pages. But I'd like to first, however, go back to Rivka and Avram's servant. You don't have the first page. You have source number 6, 7, 8. Does it start with that?
Not all of them.
Oh, okay. Some of them do? Okay. So Abraham's servant said, I'll call him Eliezer from now on. He said that the first girl that comes out to give me water and my camels, remember camels drink an awful lot after a long trip. This is someone who's probably really going through an extra effort. The problem is that when he came up to that place where all the girls of the land, it says, were shoavot mayim, they're coming with their pitchers, they're bringing up water, right? And what I would imagine, if you wanted to find the best possible girl for Yitzchak, he should stand near the well and call out, "Who has water for a thirsty stranger?" And let 7 or 8 or 10 young maidens line up and see which one not only offers him water, but then says, "You know what, your camels look pretty thirsty too. Ah, that's the one that God has shown to be the right?" That's not what he did. Please follow with me. Look at source number 7, Pasuk Yud Zayin. Okay? It says after he made this deal, "Vayaratz ha'eved likrasa." Okay, this is Rashi. I should go back to 6. Right? Right? In verse 16, he makes his deal. Right? In verse 14, he makes his deal. In 15, she shows up. 16, it describes her a little bit. And then 17, it says, "Vayaratz ha'eved likrasa. Vayomer hagmini nomat mayin mikadech." He ran straight to one girl. Only one girl at that well got a chance that day. Which seems silly. If there are 40 girls there and you're picking one, what? I often say this at Ohev Tzedek. If you have 5 men and 5 women, you're going to have 4 dates. If you have 500 men and 500 women, you're going to have no dates. It's cable TV syndrome. There's too many channels to watch, so nothing goes on. So he zeroed in on one. He ran right to that one. Bing! And that's Rivka Imenu. Unbelievable. So Rashi is bothered by that. What did he see in her that made him run right to her? Right, anybody know the famous Agadah? The water rose up out of the well into her pail. She's Mu'umedes B'Nisim. She's a miracle worker. Right? So that's what Rashi in number 7 says. Lefi she'ra'ah she'aluha mahamayim l'krasa. She'alu hamayim likrata. He ran out to meet her because the water rose out of the well into her pail. Well, that's a pretty unfair advantage. Okay, he saw this girl perform a miracle, and so he ran to her and said this, right? So I have 2 questions. How does Rashi know that? Okay, it's in Bereshis Rabbah. How does Bereshis Rabbah know that? When Rashi wrote things like this, that's why Ibn Ezra and Rashi's own grandson Rashbam said, "Zaidi, you are not pshat." What kind of perush are you writing? You're writing for Little Midrash says, "Fashal this Torah for 5-year-olds?" Rashbam thought that this perush was immature. But let me tell you, I'm not saying that I'm reading Rashi better than Rashi's own grandson. Rashi's grandson doesn't have a problem with Rashi darshaning. Rashi's grandson has a problem with Rashi darshaning and then saying my perush is pshat. Right? Drash is a perfectly good way to read the Torah. But if you're writing a commentary that you claim is pshat, Rashbam is against these kind of commentaries. But now, again, Rashi's grandson Rashbam sat on his lap and learned Chumash with him. So I'm going to say I have a better understanding of Rashi. I don't. But at least let me share this with you, is what the commentaries to Rashi say. Is that we just got finished with a description of all the daughters of the land who are going down to the water, and it says they are shoavot mayim. Shin Aleph Bet in Hebrew means to put a pail, probably weighted at the bottom with a rock or something at the bottom, so that when it hits the water, it'll sink into the water. When the pail breaks the plane of the water, it breaks the plane of the top of the pail, it'll fill with water, and then you have to, on a pulley or maybe with a rope, pull that out of the well. That action that I just described is called shoavot, lishov mayim. When Rivka comes down to the well, it just says, it doesn't say vatish av mayim, it says vatimalei eskada. That, the way Rashi works, I don't think that Ibn Ezra or Rashbam is such a close reader of biblical text, but Rashi is. Rashi says this about Moshe and Yaakov also, by the way. Moshe in Parshat Shmot and Yaakov in Parshat Vayetze. Because in those 2 places also it says people around them, and it uses the same shorish, or Shin Aleph Bet. Shin Aleph betting water, but those 2 don't. They don't use that verb for those 2. Because they don't have to Shin Aleph Bet. The water comes to them. This sounds a little midrashic, whatever you want to call it. Rashi says, "Good Shabbos, I'm not here to give you what you think is pshat. I'm here to give you what the text is telling me. And the text here is telling me that she doesn't have to do what the other girls are doing." Fine. With that in mind, one might ask, Eliezer Eved Avraham, if you are so impressed with her miracles, right, why did you even bother with your own silly test that the Gemara doesn't like anyway, right? You following what I'm saying? Why didn't he just give her the, say what's your name, or give her the Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos about which one he did first? But why didn't you just give her the bracelets right away? Well, did you even have to test her? Mulumedes benisim. She gets water that rise out of her pail, right? So there's a long answer to this question. But when he first saw that vision, he was so taken aback emotionally, and he thought, "Wow, this was amazing." I could compare it to Bnei Yisrael acting towards God the way they saw all the miracles of Yetzias Mitzrayim. That made them say, Na'aseh v'nishma. God, I don't even need to know what's in your Torah. After all we just saw in Egypt, right? The Bnei Yishmael said, what's in it? Lo tignov. Nah, I don't want it. Bnei Esav said, what's in it? Lo tirtzach. Nah, I don't want it. The Bnei Moav said, what's in it? Lo tinaf. Nah, I don't want it. Why didn't we say what's in it? We just asked how much it costs. He says, it's free. So we say, okay, I'll take 2 of them. So we didn't ask. We didn't say anything. We just said, Na'aseh v'nishma. Because we were so emotionally connected to God because of everything we had just seen. This is how, by the way, the Bechor Shor and the Balei HaTosfos explain Kof Aleim Har Kegigis. Not that God had to force us into receiving the Torah. Of course He didn't. We said Na'aseh v'nishma without coercion. The coercion was the mountain over our head was all the miracles we had seen. That Kivayochel coerced us into receiving the divine word without giving an intellectual thought to it. It was all emotionally connected. Eliezer emotionally connected to her when he saw the water rising into a pail, but he said, oh, I got to stop myself. Right? What's the first time the Torah uses the word love? Where is it? The first reference to the word love. So Yitzchak and Rivka is the first time the word ahava appears. But I asked the first time the word love appears. Vayeda ha'adam es chava ishto. Vatahar vateled ben. The Rambam has his first 2 books of his book, Mishnah Torah, are called first Mada and then Ahava. Love is not blind. Infatuation is blind. Love needs to be very informed. He fell in love with her the minute he saw her, for Yitzchak's sake. Chazal say he wanted it for his own daughter, but all right, but I'll put that aside for now. But he said, oh, this is love at first sight for Yitzchak. And then he caught himself. He said, wait a second. I'm not going to make this shidduch just based on my emotional connection. I have to make an intellectual connection. Is she a balas chesed? Is she a match for Yitzchak, not on the grounds of something that touches me emotionally, like a magic show, but on intellectual grounds? Now, the way Rashi works, are you familiar with the 3 things he gave her? He gave her 10 coins, 2 bracelets, and the Bible cares enough to tell you how much the earring weighed that he gave her.